the easiest way to review for me is to draw contrast from what works and what doesn't.
He's basically saying like show like where like you were giving the contrast of like the scene in Friendship Games and like the scene from the season 2 starter, like show and compare those two scenes and say what works and doesn't work for which one, you know?
Yeah, and come to think of it, that's actually kind of what I have. Like, not about animation, but about writing, in my up and coming, The One Where Pinky Knows review, where I compare and contrast it to, Green Isn't Your Color, where they had a similar thing as just a small, like, side gag in the back with, like, Twilight trying to keep the secret that both, Rarity and Fluttershy entrusted her with and trying to resist, blurting it out. And, that worked really well as a side gag throughout that episode, but when you make it the main plot for an episode, it completely falls apart.
So, does your enjoyment of the episodes, does it live and die from the aesthetic?
Not necessarily. I mean, honestly, like, I've always been, for me, like, enjoyment is always about, like, a gut feeling. I mean, when I'm done watching an episode, I kind of ask myself, was that a good use of my, like, the previous 22 minutes of my life? And
if you have to ask yourself that,
if my gut feeling is, yes, that was fun, then cool, I liked the episode, and the review is simply me finding out why that is. And if the answer is no, then it means I didn't like the episode, and then my review is, again, finding out why I didn't like it, and I'll go back and look at it and be like, yeah, this is the moment that gave me, like, a really, like, good feeling or a bad feeling. And sometimes it's true. Sometimes, like, it doesn't always live or die on aesthetic, but I feel like, at least more than other reviewers, I tend to put a lot more weight on aesthetic than I do for writing.
Well, that kind of happens when you're kind of an artisty themed person. It's like, because like a lot of times I'll base my entire thought of whether or not I liked an episode based on like, hey, the animation looks really good right there. I like that.
Yeah.
Say, Ken, is there sorry, I'll definitely start the mic after this one. Is there an episode that you liked mostly based on just the animation is carrying it as opposed to the other things going on around in it?
Yeah, my go-to episode for that would be Bats. I didn't care for the writing too much. I still don't. I think the story is a little bit whack, and I feel, I hate to use flanderized because I always think that's an overused term, but I do kind of think the characters were sort of flanderized. But I just really enjoyed the aesthetic in that episode. Like, all the scenes where they're in the orchard at night and everything, they have a much darker color palette, and the backgrounds are really nice looking. Flutterbat looks really cool, just all that stuff. And there's the cool things where, Rarity and Twilight had, like, the spotlights that they just shone from their horns with their cutie marks and stuff. Like, I just saw that. I was like, that is cool. I enjoy, just looking at this episode.
We're not running you over, Toon, Watchful. Any questions? What other series do you like besides MLP? What do you keep up with and why? I
often try to, like, maintain a list of, like, my top 5 favorite shows, and, like, my favorite all-time show is Doctor Who. I'm definitely keeping up with that, and I love season 9. I absolutely adore where season 9 is going so far. My second favorite show is Nichijou. I'm not keeping up with that because it ended forever ago and we'll never ever get a season 2, and that makes me very sad. But
if I knew you were a Doctor Who fan, it would have been so much easier to grab you co-hosts.
Yeah, just be just a whole big Doctor Who panel.
Yeah, just be like Peter Capaldi though. Yeah. But no, anyway, third favorite show is Gravity Falls.
Yes.
I gotta get back.
Gravity Falls. I am just absolutely in love with it. I mean, it has amazing aesthetics. Like, it's a beautiful looking show. It has wonderful writing. Partially helped that the fact that one of the writers is also one of the creators of Homestar Runner, and it shows. And that's
cool.
Really? I didn't
know Matt Chapman, he writes for like a lot of the episodes. You really get that Homestar feel for some of the scenes too.
Yeah, it's great. Like, sometimes you see things like this seems like something out of a Strong Bad Email, but and then fourth, and then MLP is like number 4 on my list. But yeah, so those are 3 shows that I enjoy like more than MLP and then I keep up with. And then of course, just other shows in general that I keep up with. There's, I have like a long list of animes that I'm going through. Some are currently airing, some I'm playing catch up on. But yeah.
All right.
I actually have a question.
Yeah,
what has been an interesting convention experience for you?
That's how to begin.
Okay. I don't know. I think all my convention experiences have been interesting because I'm usually not a convention-y kind of person. You know, I'm usually very introverted and like going on a trip by myself like I did for my second time going to Bronycon, that was like a whole new experience for me. So interesting though is interesting way of putting it. Because like I can tell you like some of my favorite experiences were actually like meeting people who recognized me and like said like they enjoyed my content. That was just like the coolest feeling because I've never had like a fan before. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. Someone like stopped me, was like, "Oh my god, you're CamGoesPony." I'm like, hey.
Yes.
Then just you know, and also of course meeting all the other reviewers, meeting them in person is cool. And it was nice to know that a lot of the people who through my interactions online I assumed would be like total assholes turned out to be like super chill. I'm like, hey, I like these guys.
To finish off with my name on that.
Nah, like I knew you weren't an asshole. Well, like you're the satirical. I don't know. It's an interesting way. Like you're an asshole, but not in a bad way.
The way Peter sells it, which I just shut up and let him do it, is he calls me a magnificent bastard, and I'm like, yeah, you're my PR guy, Peter. Keep talking.
That works. I mean, I have several friends who are, you know, assholes in that same sort of sense. So, I mean, you when I saw you at Bronycon, you turned out basically exactly how I expected.
I think you were right nearby when I ran into Pencil Swift, and he's like, "Oh, who are you?" And I was like, "I'm FNGR," and he's like,
Yeah, and I think it was at that time, like I was sitting in front of you, I think, in the seats in front of you. Here, I hear I'm FNGR. It's like, I turn around, I'm like, hey, I know you. So, people I know. Interesting con experience. Yeah, there's meeting people. There's the stuff that doesn't even go on, like, at the con. I mean, there's the sadistic games that Toon Critic sets up in his hotel room. There's
yes.
The drinking ghost pepper and the hot sauce challenge, which I chickened out of after seeing how Toon Critic reacted to the ghost pepper. Okay. That's not...
At the time, it was funny. I think getting you to play the Bean Boozle challenge, that was funnier.
Yeah,
you didn't react to any of the things that were going on in it.
Yeah, like I would get one of like the so for those listening who aren't familiar, like the idea of Bean Boozled is you have a bunch of jelly beans. You can't tell the difference between the good flavored ones and the like Birdie Bots style flavored ones.
Yeah.
That.
So it would be like moldy. It would be like dirty socks or like buttered popcorn. But the funny thing,
yeah, those are actual flavors.
That everybody else playing, like when they got a bad one, they knew. They're like, they're gagging, spitting it out. And I would grab a jelly bean, I'd eat it, and I honestly was never entirely sure if it was a bad one or a good one. I was like, doesn't taste like much really. And
congested or something?
I don't know. And then eventually I was like, nah, this is definitely a bad one. But even still, I was like, whatever, just swallow it, don't care. And then as a challenge, I grabbed like a handful of them and ate them, and it was just
God.
What are you gonna do? But yeah,
you know, if you're looking for YouTube views, that would probably do
it. Torture porn. Everybody loves torture porn.
Well, torture porn isn't fun if one of them just doesn't react.
Yes.
And they're just like,
bad.
Yeah. I guess I've had worse. I mean, that's not fun.
So I watched your collab with I think it was Capslocks. I appreciate you giving him a chance to shine here. Forgive me if this comes off a little line here, but did you intentionally take a dive there?
What do you mean?
Okay, never mind.
Wait, hang on.
No, he came all very strong at the beginning, and I was like, I'm guessing Cam was taking it easy, maybe? Okay, I'm gonna backpedal real quick.
Okay, well, if we're talking about collab with Capslock, definitely, if you mean in the sense that, like, at the beginning I was acting like a total asshole and stuff.
Yeah.
That was very much intentional. In fact, and writing myself that way, being like a total jerk and like aggressively optimistic and everything, that was my idea to write myself like that in the script. Partially because I just thought it was funny. I wanted to poke fun at myself. And especially because I started getting complaints about, how I'm being kind of too inflammatory and stuff towards people with less positive reviews and things like that. And I kind of agreed with that. So inflammatory was to become so inflammatory that it was obviously a joke. And then just kind of you know, basically just satirize myself. I mean, I'm trying to remember what exactly I did in the capslock collab, but I was basically like, oh, I cannot like live with somebody having a negative review. I am here to prove to you why my opinion is correct and the episode is good. Basically acting like, basically just acting like a total dick. And I had fun writing myself with that because it's just making fun of myself.
I did enjoy the contrast. I think it's something people doing a proper, you know, differences of opinions in a collab like that and making it enjoyable is hard to come by these days. It's been a while.
The one question I've always thought, if I ever had you where I could ask you something, because I'm an artist and think of things fairly visually. What's up with the OC design? Where did you come up with that?
You know, this is the question that I was, you know, prepared to answer because it's, I mean, every time I do any form of Q&A, it's the first question that comes up.
Well,
just
I mean,
what's
it
with
is,
your OC,
it is a unique design.
Oh, I'm not blaming people for asking that. I mean, it's my first, hardly a day goes by I don't ask myself the same question. No.
It's Robo-Duck, right? Have anyone seen DuckTales, you know?
You mean Gizmo Duck?
Yeah, Gizmo Duck, my mistake, you know.
So, the thought process behind my OC, I guess to go all the way back, I mean, at some point, just out of an interest of science fiction and stuff, I've always kind of liked the idea of a brain in a jar being hooked up to, like, a mech that it can control, and that essentially substituting as a person, because I've always kind of liked the philosophy that, you know, we're all technically just brains piloting big fleshy mechs and everything. So I thought the idea, you know, swap that out for a mechanical one, and, you know, it's a neat science fiction-y trope. And at one point, I designed a Minecraft skin around that. And that's what I used for my shitty Minecraft Let's Play channel. And then when the time came that I wanted to set up my analysis channel, I thought, well, obviously I need an OC. And I thought about it, and I realized I can't draw faces. I'll never be able to draw a face. And at some point, the idea clicked in my head, if I can't draw faces, instead of a face, make it a brain in a jar, you know, and make it like my Minecraft skin. And so I drew the original sketch, and then that is essentially how the idea of my OC was born. And then I added, and then you know, there's various touches on it for various design reasons. Like there's the little emoticon faceplate on the now previous design, and that was there because I realized, well, if I don't have a face, I need some way of at least showing facial expressions. And that seemed like a kind of cute way of doing it. And then the horn is there, like, not necessarily because I wanted to make my OC like a unicorn or anything, but I felt like the horn is kind of what took it from, because again, without the face, there's not much of like an art style to it. But adding the horn is what makes it from being like a horse brain in a jar to being a My Little Pony brain in a jar thing. You know, it adds that element of, you know, My Little Pony like whimsy to it.
So basically what you're saying is that like your really original creative design was just because you were cheating because you can't draw faces.
Yeah. I can't draw faces. And then for this last design, I took the plunge and drew most of a face. No mouth though. Can't do that. Also, Tune just dropped, but I guess we'll be back.
Yeah, Donut, I was going to say, well, if you want to take it that way, how many furries switched over to MLP just because they can't draw hands?
True. Well, I know. I'm just saying, I liked the story. I thought it was great.
Say, Cam, and I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Besides Silver Quill, so because everybody usually goes with that one, who's your favorite current reviewer?
Oh, current.
Oh, all time if you want to.
That changes my answer a bit. But yeah, current would be Silver Quill. Besides that, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm talking about current ones.
I'm just imagining.
It's a toss-up probably between Toon Critic, and Dr. Wolf.
I was imagining you going back through like your subscriber tabs. Let's see, who's the last person who collabed with Silver Quill?
To be honest, I'm way behind on watching Silver Quill's videos, but no. However, favorite all-time reviewer is definitely Gibbontake, because at first he just did the kind of like boring things where he like summarized other people's opinions, but when he started doing his own reviews, I really liked them because, not just because they tended to agree with mine, but mainly because like he didn't give a shit. Like that was his style, and it was beautiful, and that was exactly what the analysis community needed. There are so many people that took themselves too seriously. Like there was one review where Gibbontake just ended it saying like, I don't know, I mean, ponies are cute. Like, come on, like what more can I really say? Like, I like it because, ponies are cute. And that was his reasoning. And I said, there you go. Sometimes you don't need to overthink shit. Gibbontake didn't give a shit. And that's what I love so much about his reviews.
That's why I love the last episode. I was like, oh, cool. Fluttershy's doing cute things. That's, yeah. Oh my god. That's been hell.
And in fact, that was one reason why I totally loved the other recent Fluttershy episode, Scare Masters, because in that one, people who hate on Fluttershy are always going to hate on Fluttershy. But the thing is, for me, Fluttershy isn't best pony, but Fluttershy is most relatable pony for me.
She's had a particularly strong season 5, actually. I feel very comfortable in the top 3.
But even if I don't consider Fluttershy best pony, I consider Pinkie best pony. But Fluttershy has always been the most relatable for me, and so that's not always something I can express in a review because it's so personalized, it's subjective. I can't make a review and say I really liked Scare Masters because Fluttershy is my waifu. But even if it's true.
Well, actually, sir, there is the method is this. You explain the relatability of this is what the character reminds me personally from this point.
Yeah, and I've had experiences similar to this.
Let's see, I already asked that. Any notable YouTube migraines?
What do you mean by YouTube migraines? Just
copyright strikes. Glitching a video, putting it through when it's supposed to publish, and it goes through but doesn't hit your subscriber box. I don't know, third-party nonsense.
Not really. I have not really had that problem because I get content IDs on all my videos. I've given up on mirroring the footage because they can get around that now.
Yeah.
They've learned that trick. So, all that really does is just save me a few seconds in editing, which is nice. Since I've never cared about making money from my channel because I kind of knew that would be a doomed enterprise from the start, I get a content ID and they take over the monetization rights and stuff. So that means I'll never be able to get money from my videos, but that's okay. I don't care. So if I just accept the third-party content claim, then they get off my case. Mm-hmm. People have to watch 30-second ads before they can skip, but they're off my case. I'm not going to make money, but I don't need money anyway. So that usually works out well for me. Although come to think of it, I did recently join, actually not that recently, a while ago I joined a network, and that actually has been kind of more of a disadvantage, I think, because now they're automatically monetizing all my videos, and I've made 12 cents, hooray. But there's that, but it also means there's ads even on my update videos, and it's people don't want to watch ads on update videos because that's lame as hell.
What's your what's it called? Is it Fredarator?
Yeah, it's the Fredarator network. They're nice, but so far all I've used them for is I've been the Frederator gives you access to a whole bunch of sound effects and music, and I've it's kind of like stealing paper from the work printer. I haven't been even when I don't make content, I just kind of go through and I grab a bunch of sound effects. I'm you never know when this will be useful. Just so I've been stocking up on that.
Say, is that now that you mentioned that for Frederator, are those things that you only have access to now? Later on, let's suppose you decide to get rid of that. Will they come back and copyright strike those things later on once you leave?
I hope not. I can't imagine.
I guarantee you YouTube can imagine it.
Well, I'm sure. But they can copyright anything if they put their mind to it.
Yes.
The thing is, Frederator isn't exactly protecting me from copyright claims or anything. I still get the content ID strikes and stuff on my videos and all that. And again, except now instead of me having to deal with accepting or disputing them, I'm pretty sure Frederator deals with that. I'm not entirely sure what the situation is there. All I know is I'm getting a bunch of sweet free sound effects.
Of the places you regularly go on the web, what's your least favorite?
My least favorite. I think it's funny that you make the assumption that out of all the places that I regularly visit places that are my least favorite or that I don't like.
Well, no, I'm
which is true. That's how the internet works. Oh, good. Tune's back.
Well, the way I'd look at it is we all have different websites that have their own little quirks and stuff that we do go to. I originally said I used to ask what's your least favorite place on the web, and people would I'd keep getting 4chan. I was I have to mix it up a little bit here. So I was what's your least favorite place that you go to?
That would be Tumblr. That's probably
easy
the second.
target.
I'm so triggered. No, I'm not.
That's probably the second most common response you get next to 4chan. I mean,
I think you're actually the first one to use Tumblr, but I guarantee you, if people hear this one, that's going to become a common occurrence.
the thing is, like, I regularly, every day, I go on Tumblr and fail to enjoy most of the content there, and yet 5 minutes later, I'm back. So I don't know what it is. I mean, Reddit, I at least sometimes enjoy what I see. Yeah.
So I keep having Tumblr explain like this. They're like, well, if you go here, you find the really bad part of Tumblr. I'm like, well, but you're choosing to go there.
Yeah, and I mean, the same thing goes for Reddit, you know, there's like some places on Reddit that I regularly visit, and even though they're kind of like shitty places and stuff. That's an interesting question. Oh, actually, I just thought of something for your previous question about YouTube migraines.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just the worst incident I had, which wasn't even that bad, but was a little embarrassing, was when I did my Day of the Doctor collab. I released a coming soon video that featured kind of like the intro sequence and stuff, you know, listing all the people that were going to be involved, and it had like the Doctor Who theme with like the vortex and stuff in the background. And with that, I used, since I didn't want to get in trouble with like BBC, I didn't use the actual Doctor Who theme. I used like a remix. However, the artist who did that remix, as it turns out, did not want people re-uploading his stuff, which was something I failed to notice when I re-uploaded his stuff. And at some point, I got a message from him, and so I had to delete that coming soon video. And then if you go to the final like Day of the Doctor video, it's just replaced with an old version of the actual Doctor Who theme. So yeah, I didn't get to use the cool remix that I liked.
So do you have a favorite Brony associated memory?
Let's see, favorite Brony memory. That's interesting. It would probably have to be I mean, can I say just Bronycon in general? Because
oh, yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Because I'm not sure which year I liked more. They're both really fun, both of the times I went. But I mean, those are definitely some of my best memories. Like, I know at least at the time, like after I came back from my first Bronycon, I said it was like the most fun weekend I've had in my life, and that was true. And now it's up in the air with my second time going to Bronycon. And I mean, you know, that's obviously a very directly Brony related memory. I don't know. I guess one thing that I just remember fondly was when we went to right after like Brony Palooza, I just finished. This is the second Bronycon. I just finished seeing Aviators perform, who's like one of my favorite musicians ever, not just Brony musicians, but in general. And then immediately went over to where there was karaoke going on, and that was a lot of fun. I remember. And yeah, Toon got involved. You jumped up and you jumped up on the stage and did Awesome As I Wanna Be. That was something. And then there was let's see.
That was a fun time.
Trying to remember. Will, and not Will, it was Mastercode, I think. Yeah, Mastercode went up and did Sonic Rhyme Boom or some
I think he did Nightmare Nights.
That was it, Nightmare Night. And then someone else was really impressed. Somebody else came up. He was going to do Beyond Her Tomb, I think. Or no, wait, shit. I think I'm getting.
It was Beyond Her Tomb.
Yeah, and then he explicitly called out Mastercode. He was like, "Yo, I like your rapping. Get up here and perform this with me." And then there was also a bit. Somebody else did the Beat It with, you know, Black Griffin and Michelle Krieber.
That was me and Moonlight, and then friggin' Will got up there.
Popped up, then Will wasn't even like in the room at the time, but someone like told him that they were doing Beat It, and he ran in like all the way across like this huge room. I mean, like the underground area below the convention center is huge. He came running away across, and he just does like the most amazing like break dance in front of the stage, and then just everything. It was quite a night. It was cool.
BronyCon this year though is going to be awesome, I think.
Which mean next year?
Yeah, well, next year, Derp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one.
I was gonna say, I hope there isn't one going in December. Jesus.
Yeah, I've been telling myself that I have to. That, you know, it's still a little too early to consider doing it. But I mean, as is, I can definitely afford it, so I don't have much excuse for not going. And although I might decide instead of doing like BronyCon to do like BabsCon instead, but I don't know. We'll see. I do want to go to more conventions though, because
I do lament that it was worth it. That means I have to go back and blow all that money again.
All right.
I was kind of hoping, I was like, oh, maybe I'll go there and drop like $100, $200 and then come home and I'm like, no, that was pretty damn fun. I have to go until it's not. Let's see here. Do you have a favorite animated character?
Okay, that's interesting. Just out of all of animation, my favorite character.
Oh, the next one's even more pain in the ass.
Okay. One that immediately comes to mind, and it might be because it's just from a show that I'm currently watching and like in love with, is old late 90s anime called GTO. Stands for Great Teacher Onizuka.
I keep meaning to check that out.
The main character, Onizuka, might be just like one of my favorite characters because he is a like, I mean, he's kind of like vigilante and thug, like he's in like an ex like biker gangster, but he's also just like the best good guy. Like he's so like he cares so much about like all of his students, and it's so heartwarming and beautiful and. I don't know. Like he's funny and like I don't know.
You need
like,
to review this series, man. If you can sit there and express this in your video.
I definitely do want to review GTO because it's one of like. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm currently watching it now, so I need to finish it first, because there is the possibility that it'll go, like, completely off the rails and ruin itself before it ends. But, you know, so far, just from what I've seen of, like, the first 30 or so episodes, it's absolutely brilliant, and I'm in love with it. And the main character of Onizuka is a wonderful being. He's a wonderful human being.
Let's move on to that.
Oh, wait. Actually, I got a question. While we're talking about GTO, what is your, like, top 5 favorite animes?
Okay, top 5 favorite animes. Number 1, undoubtedly Nichijou. Number 2 is probably GTO. Then 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is a toss-up. They kind of switch around between Kill La Kill and Azumanga Daioh. And then 5, like the number 5 slot kind of swaps out some with number 6 between Ikamusume and Yuri. I really like Slice of Life, so I have a lot of that in my favorites.
If you're a Kill La Kill fan, did you get into Gurren?
Not yet. It's Gurren Lagann is on my it's in my queue of animes I have to watch because I've heard if you like Kill La Kill, and especially because of the animation. I mean, I don't care at all about like the story in Kill La Kill. I think it's if anything, it's honestly just pretty stupid. But the animation in Kill La Kill is.
I was about to say, if you need a ringing endorsement for Kill La Kill, Brony hates anime, but he loves Gurren Lagann.
But the animation in Kill La Kill is absolutely astounding. It is. I mean, if you look on my second channel, my Scatterbrain channel, my first thing there was a review of Kill La Kill, and I just talked about how the animation is. It's definitely the best animated anime I have ever seen, and probably just one of the best examples of animation I've ever seen.
Well, you'll love Gurren then. The animation's even better actually than Kill La Kill in my opinion. But then again, it's Guy Next. The guys always do great animation. So much so that they blow all their budget on every single like series they do.
Did they go out of business?
I don't think so.
No. They were kind of bought out by another company, and a lot of other people went to move on. Essentially, the same people who worked on Gurren Lagann were the same people who worked on Kill La Kill.
Yeah,
it's just that because the studio went bankrupt and stuff, and they kind of went along their separate ways. They kind of parted ways and formed Studio Trigger.
Here's that next pain in the butt question. Okay. What's your favorite animated character from a terrible show?
Okay.
For anime, this is a lot easier, isn't it?
Well, let's see. First thing I have to think of is what animated shows do I think are terrible? And that's sort of a difficult question because most animated shows that I think are truly, really terrible, I never saw more than one episode of. I mean, I saw like this one anime going on now, like Asterix Wars. I saw the first episode and I said, this episode is literally so bad, I'm not even going to bother giving it a chance with the second episode. It was absolutely awful, and I don't remember any of the characters' names, so I definitely can't tell you my favorite character from that, and there definitely wasn't one.
Well, growing up, being younger, people have a lot more patience. I don't know. Well, now that the internet generation is around, it's harder.
What animated shows did I watch when I was little? Like basically, I mean, I did not have Cartoon Network growing up. I had the PBS stuff, so I had Arthur and like Cyber Chase. I don't remember any of the characters' names from like Cyber Chase or anything, except for Hacker. But and then let's see, one I can think of. One, like, I wouldn't say that the anime is terrible, but watching through it, I always liken like my experience watching it to being like in an abusive relationship. Because
Wait, what?
like, I put my trust in it, and then it like betrays me with some like really stupid moment. And I'm like, I thought you wouldn't do this anymore. And then I drop the show for like several months, and then I pick it up again. I'm like, hey, okay, this is better. It's getting good. And then it does something really stupid again. I'm like, oh, betrayed me. But I finally finished it, and I was really happy with the ending. But that show is Code Geass. Lots of like really great anime punctuated by incredibly terrible moments. But my favorite character from that would obviously be the main character of Lelouch, because he's so badass, and he's a cold motherfucker. Holy shit.
All right, I've saved this one for as long as I can, and you feel free to ignore this, and I'll edit it out. This is based on one of your remarks, I think, on like your third video here. If you were going to leave the fandom in a bitter fuck all way, who would you call out? Hypothetically speaking. Hypothetically speaking.
I have thought about this.
There's a safe answer, but go ahead.
And I wanted to go and call out no one, because that would be the safe thing to do. But
that's not the way it works.
Okay, who would I call out? Maybe Tommy Oliver. You know, like Tommy Oliver and Digi are the go-to like people to crucify when I look at the analysis community.
I remember being shocked when I asked Can Cream that, and he just started going on about KP, and I like looked up and going, who would have known Can Cream would have had somebody to call out?
I did not think. I didn't consider that, but yeah. KP. I'm calling them out. Fuck, I'm calling them out now. No.
Didn't you guys make a dig at KP on the critiquing through comedy thing there, Toon? He left.
Toon dropped again.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've actually hauled out of ammo, unless anybody's got anything left.
I don't know. I can rail about a lot of people. Also, like, I'd call out Biter, definitely. I've warmed to Biter, but I still don't really get along, probably because my first experience with him ever, which happened like approximately as soon as I joined the big like Rift Cafe chat several years ago, was a 3-hour argument about Equestria Girls.
I haven't seen him get into like a super big argument lately, but the funny thing is when I had to talk with him, he was making so many good points finally, and I'm like, why don't you put this in a video? Oh, I can't be bothered. I'm like, oh, another past analysis. I thought so many things, Biter. I wasn't aware you were lazy.
I might call out Pasta. I don't know. Pasta's a cool dude, though. I disagree with him on a lot of like analysis community things, but like as a person.
Oh, I actually have a question I skipped here.
Maximum overchill.
Yeah, that we could back up for if you want.
Yeah.
When we talked to Digi, unnecessarily, might I add. Yeah, I know. Digi mentioned something off the handle. Like, he mentioned you very super briefly. He's like, who's that guy with the brain in the jar? I was like, yeah, Camgoes. He's like, he made this remark about, he's like, well, we're not all negative. And his response, I thought was, fairly polite, where he's like, well, we used to be allowed to have different decisions. And we were just about to move on. And Pasta backs up the truck. He's like, oh, no, that's Camgoes. Nobody likes him.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Oh, God. I was going to wait to bust that out when he came on the show, and I'm like, what do you have to say about that, Pasta? Now he's ready.
No, you pulled that at Bronycon. You told Pasta at Bronycon. Pasta claimed he had no memory of that, but still apologized. So what a nice guy.
I'm pretty sure it's timestamped, literally listed. Pasta analysis throws Camgoes underneath the bus.
But yeah, you told me about that when it happened, that I totally got called out. You're just like, yo, did you hear people talking shit? And that was kind of the moment when I realized that perhaps I'm going it too far and being inflammatory, and that was something that directly inspired, the way I wrote my capslock collab. Speaking of that, the comments on that capslock collab, Pasta in those comments, though, he was going at it.
Oh, yeah, well, Look,
that was beautiful.
I do love the idea that everyone is allowed to have their own opinion, and I do support the fact if someone wants to be negative, more power to you. But I do think that positive might go just a touch too far.
Tiny, whiny, little itty bitty bit.
The thing that I love so much about just the comments on that collab was the fact that during a season 4, the analysis community was passive aggressive.
Yeah.
People would say, some people might say this, but I think that opinion's just misguided. And they wouldn't call anyone out specifically. Season 5 comes around, we drop the passive on the aggressive. People are just calling each other out. In the comments, someone was saying, someone said this too fast or being negative. He was like, the show is pearls before swine with you. You don't deserve to watch My Little Pony. And I was like, it's a show for little girls, guys. Chill out. I mean,
I'd like to point
that was beautiful.
I love to point this out to freaking haters as much as I do Pasta because this makes Pasta's head explode. And I was like, you guys do know that Digi's favorite season is 4, right? And he said that himself. Like, I was in call with him with one of his, like, Digi's main fanboy, like, the Devu was there, and he's like, but Digi, you said all these. He's like, I'm telling you now, season 4 was my favorite. Stop arguing with me.
That's wonderful. I love that.
I know. No, yeah, that's golden. That's a great way to freaking end up the thing here. I love talking to you, Cam. We ended stronger than we started. I like that. All right.
Yeah, and I'm good that somebody finally, like, halfway through, I was wondering, like, when are they going to ask about my OC? And then finally you asked. I was like, there we go. I have my answer written down for this one. I don't, but.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye. And hit